Chapter 4, Larecia. I really needed to get this whole baby, married man thing off my chest. I owed it to Lacey. She might be what I need to help me get past the pain. So after we got to her house, I decided to tell her the whole story. I knew that she would never say, "I told you so." She was never judgmental. "Tweet, the guest room has everything you need in it, but if you need something more, let me know," she said to me as we carried my luggage up the stairs. My mind was really on that dog of a man who made me fall in love with him only to deceive me and break my heart. And now I'm carrying his baby. The first time I ever saw Marcus, my heart was beating so fast. I guess you could say it was love at first sight. I was captivated, awed, and knocked sideways by the depth of my attraction to him. We met during a neighborhood rummage sale. He was busy looking at antique lamps with a woman who was very attractive. We made eye contact several times before we got close enough to speak. "So, you like to find sales like this?" he asked, holding up a glass vase, looking at the embossed signature on it. "Yeah, I'm fixing up my apartment," I said quietly, trying not to show my obvious attraction to him. "Oh, yeah?" he said, as the woman he was with came over quickly to join us in the conversation. "What's your name?" he asked. "Larecia," I shyly replied, not knowing if this was his wife. "Well, this is my sister Kelly, and I'm Marcus," he said, putting down the vase and extending his hand. Let me tell you, the stare he gave me, I could feel it run through my body. I started started to feel embarrassed, like I was standing there naked. Honey, I hope you're single. My brother has that look on his face, Kelly said with a sly smile. He turned to her with a grin and said, What look? Oh, sweet, like he didn't know what she was talking about. Whatever, I'll be in the car. Nice meeting you, Larecia, and good luck, she said, picking up the things she bought. Don't mind her. She's my older sister, so she always thinks she knows me better than I do. Well, that's nice, I said, moving over to another table. I knew if he was really interested, he would make his move. I picked up 2 paintings, one big and one small. Now that is what I like, he said, walking back up behind me. Yeah, but $30 a piece like this is some famous painter? Please, I'm on a budget, I said, snickering. I think my apartment would look good with them, he said, now standing even closer to me. Excuse you, I said, moving a bit away from him. I'm sorry to invade your space. I was trying to see who signed the pictures. What's with this signature thing you seem to be obsessed with? I said, spinning around, throwing my long black hair over my shoulders. He stood there staring at me like a deer in the headlights. Hello, I said, getting annoyed. Lots of people in this world have no idea what a real treasure is worth. Why don't you let me take you to dinner? All that in one sentence? I said, turning back around. His sister is now tooting the horn. Here's my card. Call me and let me know, he said like he was all that and more. I looked at him, and he just winked and smiled. One thing I will say, he was good-looking as well as charming. One thing about the men in my life, the ones that I had never seemed to do enough to keep me. Not that I thought I was all that, but I did have my standards. My mother, who I would say should not have given much advice considering the way she and my dad's life went, often said, Don't end up with a mama's boy. They are never faithful. I think that set me up for a lot of the problems I have today. I had a job at UPS. Not the greatest, but it paid the bills. I also attended the University of Illinois at night, pre-law. I dreamed of someday finding a rich guy that would sweep me off my feet and make all my dreams come true. As I got up on Monday, getting ready for work, I started thinking about Marcus. He was acting very sweet. Should I give him a chance? I said out loud. I walked over and searched my coach bag for his card. Walker and Associates. It was kind of vague about what he did, so I assumed it was a law firm or something like that. All the way to work, I pondered whether I should call him or not. That's when Billy called me. He was one of those guys who were just good to look at. Everything else about him sucked. I'm not kidding. He was always broke. His car was always in the shop, to let him tell it. And sex, God only knows that he was not created to do that. I think I kind of felt sorry for him, so I kept him around. Hey, Billy, what's up? I asked him, getting ready to blow him off. You on your way to work? Billy replied. Now this is what I was talking about. He's been talking to me for 3 months. He knows I work Monday through Friday, and he's asking dumb stuff like that. Yes. Before I could say anything else, the car behind me started blowing the horn like I was in their way or something. Hold on, Billy. Some asshole was blowing his horn behind me. Now, it's 2 lanes. Why doesn't he pass me if I'm going too slow? I mumbled in frustration. To my surprise, they swerved around me and pulled up beside me. It was a deep blue Porsche with tinted windows, so I could not see who was driving. As he started to roll down the window, I'm ready to curse out whoever it is. Hi, he shouted. Marcus? He had sunglasses on and a ball cap, so he looked a little different. I was so shocked that it was him, and even more, he was driving such a nice car. Had I hit the jackpot? A car was coming up behind us. I was going to be late for work, but this guy just might be worth it, I thought. So I pulled over to the side of the road. He pulled over behind me. I walked back to his car. He was sitting there like some lovesick high school boy. Mister, is it Smith? Before you start screaming at me, I have something for you. He turned and to my surprise, had both of the paintings I was looking at on the floor. Don't tell me you bought them for me, I said, still trying to be a little hard. Let's just say that they'll be your first housewarming presents, he said, getting out of the car. Oh, so now you're trying to bribe me, I said, trying to keep from smiling too hard. No, I just want to get to know you, he said, looking all fine. I could smell some aroma of cologne. I can't say what it was, but it smelled good, and I just wanted to scream out loud. Look, I'm sure you're a very nice guy, but you can't buy me, I said, walking back to my car. I got in, and he was still standing there looking pitiful, like I'd just run over his cat or something. Billy was still waiting on the phone. That was him. He would have waited 4 hours to get me back on the phone. I looked at my rearview mirror. Marcus was still standing there like he just knew I was going to come back. As much as I wanted to, I started my Toyota and left him standing there. I had to be stubborn because men these days just think they can tell you anything and you're supposed to just fall to their feet. No, not me, I thought, as I picked my cell phone back off the seat. Billy, I'm sorry, baby. His picture was on my phone, but he was not saying anything, so I just hung up. When I got to work, my supervisor was waiting at the door. She was a hard woman. I think being in the military had gone to her head. I'm sorry I'm late, but there was a wreck. She didn't say anything. She just turned around and went back in the building. I guess I gave a good answer, even though she seemed to be acting funny all day. I couldn't seem to focus. Was it the thought of Marcus? So many men here, but most were married, and they were just as bad as the single men. They want to be players. Every time I looked around, one or more of them would be hitting on me. I just couldn't get a rep screwing men at the job. Many of the cute ones came at me, but I still refrained from it. This, in turn, made me pick up haters. Too many women in one place can get messy at times, and this place was the worst. This chick named Candy, what a piece of work. She couldn't stand me at all because this married man named Ike wanted me, and she liked him. I would see her in passing, always looking and whispering. We worked in different departments, but I could tell she was talking about me. After a long, hard day of fixing invoices, I looked up, and it was time to go home. Who would I run smack into? Ike. Lucky thing is for me, he was on a cell phone talking to somebody, so he just waved. I gave half a wave and started walking fast. As I got out near my car, I hear a motorcycle coming up close to me. Whoever it was, they had on purple leather pants and a purple jacket. As I walked down the sidewalk, he pulled up next to me. I noticed that there was a gift wrap box on the back seat. He pulled up to the curb, right next to me. Hey, Larecia, he said. I turned around, still not seeing who was following me. It really scared me at first. He took off his helmet. It was Marcus. You scared the shit out of me. How do you always know how to find me? I asked, a little pissed. If I tell my secrets, we won't have anything to talk about, he said with that familiar, charming smile. You're playing games, I said, turning and heading back toward my car. I have something for you. Don't be like that, he said, apologizing. Marcus, I told you I am not for sale. I turned around and saw he was now off his bike. Candy and this other crony of hers were now headed down the same sidewalk. They were breaking their necks to see who was talking to me. I really wanted you to see what I brought for you, he said, as he walked up to me with that big box in his hand. Now this guy was persistent, to say the least. I really needed a man, a good one, who would take care of me the way my mother taught me that a man should. I knew some men would chase you until they got the cookie and then blow you off. This guy was so fine. His body was like steel with tattoos of some kind of dragon peeping out on the lower neck. Look, he said, one date, and you accept my gift, and if you don't like my company, I'll never bother you again. He had this boyish grin on his face that I found I just couldn't say no to. I looked at the nosy-ass co-workers, now on the other side of the street walking to the parking lot, still looking. And just that made me say yes, and I deliberately gave him a big hug. God almighty, he felt so damn good. I had forgotten how good it felt to be in a man's arms. I didn't want him to think that he had me already, so I let go before I lost my freaking mind. I tell you what, I'm off tomorrow. Perfect, he said, smiling. What time shall I pick you up? How about you call me, and I'll give you a better time. Put my number in your phone. Great, he said, putting his hands in his pocket and pulling out his phone. I could see on his face how happy he was. His constant pursuit of me had gotten his ass in the door. What had I gotten myself into now?